Alrighty guys, so we are back inside, and while I'm waiting for our tallow to harden up in the refrigerator, I'm going to start on my next project, which is calendula salve. So I'm also going to leave the link to the recipe in the videos down below of where I got this recipe from. That way they can better explain it. But I figured while I have good use of this time, I'm going to make this salve because it seems fairly simple to do. So on my stove right now, I just have a pot with some water in it. We're gonna make a double boiler in a moment. And then what I have over here is our glass bowl that's gonna be going on the double boiler with 1 ounce of beeswax. The next thing that we need is infused olive oil with calendula flower. And you can get calendula flower either at seed and grow it yourself or online. If you get it online, you'll probably see it come in like a Mylar bag like this, and it comes in quite a bit. So this here is 1 pound, and I've already used some of this for my oils. So what I did is this has to infuse, I believe they say for at least, I want to say 4 to 6 weeks. Definitely reference the video that I'm going to show you below. It's been well over 4 to 6 weeks for me because I've moved, and you know, you can let it infuse as long as you really want to. I don't think that's going to deter it in any way. So anyway, what I did is that you have to use a neutral olive oil, so either avocado, olive oil, something like that. They don't recommend coconut oil because they say that coconut oil, you know, at room temperature it hardens, and you kind of want it to have some fluidity to it. So I did 2 quarts, and what you do is you just fill up your calendula flowers about halfway, about two-thirds, and then you fill the rest with your olive oil or whatever, you know, oil you're going to be using. Mix it up, and then just put your lid and your ring on and just keep it in a dark, cool place for it to infuse. So I've done 2 of these quarts. So I'm gonna just follow one recipe right now since I've never made this before, and we're just gonna see how much it makes us. I also purchased online these little amber jars. They do recommend amber jars wide enough for you to put your fingers in order to get the salve out, obviously, and have your fingers go to the bottom. I had 6 of these come. These are a little bit larger than the jars they recommended, so I'm just gonna make one recipe at a time and see how many I can fill up with what I have here. Okay, so the next thing that they say to do after you have your beeswax weighed out, 1 ounce, is we're gonna take our calendula infused oil and we're gonna strain it. So I'm just have a strainer here in a bowl. We're just gonna pop all this out. Calendula flowers are supposed to be really good for your skin if you have sensitive skin. And so that's why I'm excited to try this, because I do have sensitive skin. And anything to help improve it more naturally is what I would like to do. And the recipe seems really easy. The hardest thing is honestly waiting for your oil to infuse, from what I've noticed. Okay, so we're just going to push on this calendula flower, let it drain off in the bottom here a little bit. Since we've worked so hard to get this oil, we want to try to get as most of it as we can. Usually 2 cups is 1 quart, so I might even double this recipe just to use at least all of this oil, which that's what it looks like here. But I'm gonna measure it out here and see what we have. Now I'm sure you can use the rest of this calendula flower for something else. I'm making soap right now with calendula flowers, so honestly I'm gonna grab a bowl and save this because I can probably just put it right into my soap that I'm making. That way I don't waste it. right, pop that into here. Next, we have our beautiful oil. Like I said, I have our pot on the stove heating up for us for whenever we finally get this moving. I have a measuring cup here, a 2-cup measure. We're gonna see if we have 2 cups here. And we do. So, a little bit better than 2 cups, just by a pinch. So then that means I'm gonna come back to my beeswax here. And I'm gonna weigh out another ounce. So I'm just gonna tear this out. Tear that out, and then we're gonna add in another ounce. Okay, there she is. Next, we're gonna put our calendula infused oil into our bowl with our beeswax. So since I'm doubling this recipe now, it's 2 ounces of beeswax to 2 cups of calendula infused oil. Okay, now we're gonna take this over to our double boiler. So there's too much water in my double boiler, so I'm just gonna take a cup and get rid of some here. If you can help it, you don't really want your glass bowl to touch the water. If it's touching it a little bit, that's okay. But you don't really want it to be really encased in it. Okay, that seems pretty good there. So now with the double boiler, we can melt the beeswax into this infused oil slow without burning it. So this is going to be perfect. So I'll bring you guys back here once this is all nice and melted, and then we're moving on to the next step. Okay, everybody, I have our beeswax and our calendula oil right here. It took probably about 10 to 15 minutes to melt completely. And now we're ready to add in, if you'd like to add in an essential oil, you can go ahead and do that now. I'm gonna add in some lavender drops. The recipe calls for anywhere between 30 to 40 drops in your mixture here, and then just mix it up. And I'm just gonna take our lids off of our containers here. And then the containers I bought did come with some labels. So that was nice. I can just write on there what it is. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and flavor our mixture here. Lavender smells really good. Okay, that's about 30 drops right there, give or take. You just want to mix it up and you want to give it a nice smell to see if you think that it has enough aroma for you. I think I might put a little bit more in. You just want to, they recommended that you want to be sure that the kind of essential oil that you're going to be putting in here is okay for skin contact, because some of the oils are not, so just be wary of that. smells really good so far. Just gonna add in just a little bit more for our oil, and I think I'm actually almost done with this one. So all in all, I think I put closer to 40 drops in mine. Remember, I do have a double batch here, so that's probably why it's taking a little bit more. But I think that's really nice right there. So next what you're gonna do is just pour it into a vessel where you can pour it from. So I'm just gonna take it right back into my measuring cup here because it has a little spout. And we're just gonna pour. I'll try not to make too much of a mess, but no promises on that, unfortunately. And then we're just gonna go over here to our jars. I just have a little tea towel down. And I'm just gonna start pouring in here and filling these jars up. And I'm just gonna go to the bottom lip of these jars, which is about a 1/2 inch headspace. It looks really pretty though. It's just nice and golden. So the fat from the oil and the calendula flower obviously is what's to help the skin, as well as the beeswax also helps the skin. Along with it, the beeswax is actually what hardens it up. I don't know if I mentioned that before. And that's what kind of turns it into a salve or a lotion. Okay, the remainder, what we got, and this is gonna tell me how much more I need to make to fill up our other couple jars here. Unless we just might make it, we'll see. Okay, we just made it. So we actually were able to fill up 5 of these, and I think this is close to 4 ounces. So that was really nice. I'm just gonna go through and top off a little bit, see how fast this is hardening up. You can see that in there, and that's really cool. So that means that these are gonna set up nice. I'm just gonna pop. I don't wanna waste any of this, so I'm just scraping it, and then I'm just gonna add a little. So after you've got all of your mixture in these jars, next they say to do is to wipe off your rims. And then we're gonna let this harden up a little bit, and then we're going to put some dried calendula flower on top. Just as a little decoration. They said it's really optional, you don't have to. It's just a nice little decoration, and since we have so much, I am very okay with doing that. So yeah, so we're just letting that set up. I'll bring you back when it's all set and whenever we start to add in the calendula flower. Welcome back, guys. It is the next day, and our salve has completely hardened up. It's really beautiful, and the smell of it is fairly mild. It has the smell of the calendula flower. The calendula flower doesn't have a big smell to it. And then I just sprinkled some dry calendula on top for decoration. So yeah, so we were able to get 5 of these out of our recipe that I doubled yesterday.